All right, here we go. Brand new Flyers Daily for the 6th of April, 2024. Now only 5 games remaining and one tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets. And one to break down from last night, a 4-2 loss against the Buffalo Sabres. Flyers Daily is always presented by Ticketmaster. Make more memories live. Let's get to last night first and break down the game. The frustrating part about the game for me wasn't the way the Flyers attacked Buffalo or Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. It was the lack of finish and the ability to finish really good opportunities. They attacked the middle of the ice, below the top of the circle, in between the hashes, the entire game, but just couldn't finish nearly enough. The NHL is a race to 3, race to 4 league. Buffalo got to 4. Flyers only got halfway there. You're not going to win many games when you only score 2 goals. And yeah, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen was good, made some really good saves, but that lack of finish has been a big, big issue for the Flyers of late. When I look at the Flyers' last 7 games, they've only got, or 8 games now, they've only got 18 goals, just over 2 a game. You got to score more than that. And then it was on a night when I didn't think the goaltending for the Flyers was great. It was Ivan Fedotov's first start in the NHL on what's been a whirlwind couple of weeks for him. I am not going to make my mind up on Ivan Fedotov based on 2 periods against the Islanders in relief and based on the 3 periods last night. That'd be silly. And you can see some of the things that he struggled with in the game are exactly the things that Kevin Woodley and I talked about last Friday when Kevin came on from In Goal Magazine about the NHL and the KHL being so vastly different. Kevin said, and I quote, "It's almost like the goaltending position in hockey in the NHL versus the KHL is like playing a different sport." And that's maybe that's a bridge too far, but the difference is so pronounced. And we're seeing that. And Ivan Fedotov's going to have to learn to adjust to the NHL. And it doesn't happen just because he came over on a plane. It's going to take time, and it's going to take some trial and some error and some things he's got to realize that he's got to handle some, shots against or scoring chances differently. But I'm not going to pin last night's game on him because when you only score 2 goals, you're not going to win very often. And Ivan Fedotov just got here. All right, real quick. The shots in the game, 33-19 in favor of the Flyers. They limited Buffalo all night. I thought the Flyers defensively, for the most part, with the exception of one play in the first period, defended well in the game. The play I'm talking about in the first period, though, is the one that opens the scoring at 10:01 when Tage Thompson gets free up the right side and is able to deke Ivan Fedotov to make it 1-0. The problem I had with the play, it was a quick transition out of the neutral zone for Buffalo, and they kind of attacked the Flyers across their blue line, kind of coming across. And Alex Tuch drops the puck off to J.J. Peterka on the left side. But so Eric Johnson is defending Tuch, and there's also a winger there as support for any kind of drop play or curl back to look for the trailer. And as Eric Johnson's got him marked for the clear path to the net, winger is high, good coverage. Problem was that Mark Stahl followed Tuch all the way across, and it became something that I kind of termed lately as redundancy in defending. And now you have 3 players attached to Alex Tuch who just got rid of the puck. Now, Tuch's going to drive the net, but Eric Johnson's going to pick him up. There's no reason for Stahl to go over there and crowd that situation, therefore leaving the left side for Stahl open, his side of the ice. And that's exactly where Tage Thompson goes. And J.J. Peterka gets him the puck. He goes in on Fedotov unimpeded, and it's 1-0 in favor of the Buffalo Sabres. They only had 4 shots in the first period. But that's a ghastly error. Redundancy in defending is never good because there's always going to be somebody else open elsewhere. And in the NHL, they find that guy, and they did. 1-0 after 1 period of play. Pick it up in the second period, 9:07 in. I thought Noah Cates, he was kind of the player I circled after the first period and talked about on the intermission on the radio with Brian Smith. I thought he was a player that had a tremendous amount of jump in the first period. He comes out in the second period, continues that, and eventually gets rewarded as he picks up his 5th goal of the season. Really good forechecking by the Flyers on this play. All 5 men keeping the puck in at the blue line. Sanheim ends up down low around the net, keeping the play alive. Eventually, Cam York keeps it in, and eventually Cates gets it and beats Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen to make it 1-1. Tippett and York with the assist. And then at 14:51, Rasmus Dahlin is able to kind of invade the middle high slot area and get a shot off. I think he uses a Flyers defenseman as a bit of a screen here, and maybe that takes the eyes away, like right at the release of the shot from Ivan Fedotov. But Dahlin beats him high blocker. Now, this is one of the things that Fedotov's going to have to adjust to. In the KHL, there's not a lot of guys crossing through, taking your eyes away, setting net front screens and layered screens and those kind of things. They play on the perimeter. In the NHL, there's layered screens all over the place, and there's moving screens all over the place. And in this situation, there was a screen that was coming across, and for the goalie, you have to know that it's coming, have the awareness that that guy's coming across, and find, okay, am I leaning this way to keep my eyes on the release of the puck, or am I going to come to the other side and knowing he's crossing in that direction, and I'll eventually gain vision on the release of the puck? Fedotov just kind of gets his head locked into a position, loses it, and then doesn't see the release. Dahlin beats him for his 19th, and it's 2-1. Then at 19:54, a couple things I didn't like about this play. First of all, I did not like the way Buffalo was able to stretch the ice in the final 10 seconds of the period to even get the opportunity. Situational play, so important. You got to know that there's 20, 15, 10 seconds left and tighten everything up. You don't need to keep attacking. And Flyers were caught deep a little bit. Buffalo was able to stretch the ice, get the puck up the ice in quick order. Jack Quinn gets into the middle of the ice, and is able to beat Ivan Fedotov clean, basically in the same spot as Rasmus Dahlin shot. And the thing I don't like about this goal, it's a clean shot. Could have a defenseman maybe have pressed up on him and tried to get a stick in there a little earlier? Maybe. There was a guy driving the net on the left side. So maybe that could have been a way to thwart that attempt a little bit. But Jack Quinn is not Tage Thompson. Jack Quinn is not, Austin Matthews. He picks up his 6th goal. And I think that Fedotov just lost his patience here a little bit. Took himself off his feet. He is huge. We know that. And even Ivan Fedotov on his knees in a butterfly is bigger than most goalies out there at 6'7". And it's not that he can't reach the high corners from his knees. He can. But when a goalie goes down into a butterfly, all the inertia of your body is moving down. And when it's moving down, it's hard to throw one part of your body back up against that inertia and make a save. I thought he defaulted to the butterfly much too quickly on the shot, and therefore it made it different. You see him, he kind of waves at it with his blocker, and that's because the inertia of his body is going down. Now he's trying to reverse that inertia and get that blocker up for the high blocker save. So you got to be more, he needs to be more patient on his edges and stay on his feet there and attack that shot as it comes. Goes in 3-1 Buffalo after 2 periods of play. These are things he's going to pick up, but he's got to have the adjustment. In the NHL, look, every guy in the KHL can shoot the puck incredibly hard. There's guys in the East Coast League and NCAA all over that can shoot the puck hard. Not much harder than an NHLer. The difference is that in the NHL, they will disguise their release. They will use your defenders as an asset to take your eyes away. They will use and read screens, layered screens, and moving screens. And they will not only shoot the puck hard, but they'll shoot it with pinpoint accuracy and put it where they want. That's the difference. That's why they're in the NHL. The NHL is the most unforgiving league in the world. It's the greatest league in the world. And it's not forgiving on goaltenders trying to make an adjustment. It's a difficult thing to do. So head to the third period, Flyers down 3-1 at 9:19. Owen Tippett is able to get a pass at the high point, and he about scrapes the ceiling with his stick. I mean, he had the stick up and cocked and ready to go and just bombs one from the point. His 28th goal of the season. That makes it 3-2. But then at 13:59, Jack Quinn picks up his 2nd of the game, his 7th of the season, off a rebound, kind of shot to the middle pad of Fedotov. It looked like he maybe was a little off his angle here, and the rebound ends up on Quinn's stick, and he's able to squeeze it by on the short side on Ivan Fedotov, and it's 4-2, and there's your final. Buffalo unable to convert more than a couple of opportunities to get the empty net goal, make it a little bit easier on themselves. But again, I am not going to judge Ivan Fedotov and make up my mind based on this game. His lateral movement looks like it may need a little bit more explosiveness to it, and he'll learn that as well. Staying on his edges and staying patient. And really, you look at big goalies that have been in the NHL, and you look at a guy like Ben Bishop, for example, another really big guy. And early in Bishop's career, lateral movement was a thing. And sometimes the big goalies almost look gangly. They're not as tight because their arms are longer, their legs are longer, and all of those things. But Bishop eventually became a really good play reader, which is what elevated his game. Pekka Rinne, same thing. Great compete level as well. Reading the play is going to be very big for Ivan Fedotov to maybe mitigate some of that. He's not going to be as explosive laterally as a guy like Alexei Kolosov or like Sam Ersson or some of the other smaller size goaltenders. The guys that are anywhere from that 6'3" to 6 foot range. UC Saros is smaller, but incredibly explosive side to side. Jonathan Quick was like that. Shesterkin's like that. But you can mitigate that weakness, if you will, by play reading and anticipating the play. That's what will take a little bit of time for Ivan Fedotov. It would take time for anyone. So we'll see where it goes the remainder of this season. I imagine Sam Ersson 100% going to get the start tonight in Columbus as the Flyers look to grab 2 points. They missed another opportunity last night. We said this last week. Flyers have accomplished a very rare feat in sports where you have a missed opportunity and you dodge a bullet at the same time. They did it again last night, for goodness sake. It's bananas. As a couple of games going on last night, standings are incredibly tight. Washington's got an opportunity. They end up losing to Carolina. They're in a tie game, 2-2. 18:09 of the third period. Aho scores. Carolina takes a 3-2 lead. Get an empty net goal from Jake Gensel with, I think, 8 seconds left. And the Caps don't even get a point. They end up losing the game 4-2. The Red Wings are tied in their game against the New York Rangers. They're going to for sure get a point, right? Rangers end up winning it 4-3 in regulation. It's like, what is going on here? It's just bananas that this is still this tight. Kreider scores the game-winning goal to make it 4-3 for the Rangers midway through the third period. So what does it all mean in the standings? Flyers don't get any points. Caps don't get any points. Detroit doesn't get any points. The Islanders didn't play. Penguins didn't play. So here's the deal. Changed. It's pretty much it. Because they have played one more game than the Islanders now. The Islanders moved to the 3 spot. Flyers are wild card number 2. The Caps, 2 games in hand, have 82 points, and the Detroit Red Wings have 2 games in hand, have 82 points. Those 2 teams play each other, and we know the Cap schedule down the stretch is tough. So is the Islanders, so is Detroit's Flyers. Not so much, with the exception of the New York Rangers, but they haven't been good against these bad teams. And the Penguins now, 76 games played. Flyers have played 77. Penguins sitting 2 points back. It is tight. But again, they were able to somehow dodge a bullet, and it doesn't affect them in the standings. Now, it would have been obviously huge to get the 2 points. And come hell or high water, you better get 2 points tonight against Columbus for a couple of reasons. One, it's Columbus. They have 62 points. They're the worst team in the Eastern Conference. And I think they're playing about a 5th or 6th string goaltender. They've had some injuries. None of their guys are available. I think they're about 4 or 5 guys deep. You gotta go in there and pound that team. Now, Columbus didn't play last night. You're running back-to-back. I don't care. You gotta go in there, not win, pound them. And the Flyers gotta find a way to get some momentum and get some confidence back and get some goals on the board to push through here. They've been dodging bullets left and right, but if they don't start grabbing some points, it ain't gonna matter. All these teams are not gonna lose out. If this is not a shining example of never expanding the Stanley Cup playoffs, I don't know what is. But it's Columbus tonight, Flyers back at it. And I know I was looking on social media and everybody's saying if they lose this game, it's over. Well, it turns out it's not. Look, we'll see what happens after the 82. But damn, they got to go in Columbus tonight and get a win. Or I may come on here tomorrow and say it's over. And we'll see what happens with the rest of the schedule coming up tomorrow. Who else is in action tomorrow? Let's look. Let's take a gander at what's on the card for tomorrow on a Saturday night. Friday night's not usually the busiest night in the NHL. Saturdays, little more busy around the NHL. So on Saturday, we will see, obviously, the Flyers in Columbus. Here's what else is on the cards for Saturday night and Saturday. Penguins are at home again, at home against Tampa, 1:00. So we'll know that even before puck drop. Other games of consequence. Let's see here. New Jersey's playing at Ottawa. I don't think New Jersey's in the mix. Nashville is in New York to take on the Islanders. And those are the only other games on Saturday night. Then Sunday, you've got some games there as well. Nashville's in New Jersey, Columbus and Carolina. Washington is at home against Ottawa. So go Sens. So we'll see if they're able to come out of this weekend. You got to get 2 points tonight, though. It's just plain and simple. Let me get to one email here that came in last night, after we got to a bunch of emails in yesterday's episode. And I love getting emails from everybody. You can send them to me at jason.myrtetus, Myrtetus, at gmail.com. You can leave your comments down below on the YouTube feed, or you can DM me on Twitter as well at Jason Myrt. Chris emails and says, "Hey, Jason, first off, love the podcast and appreciate the effort you put in to give us meaningful content, not clickbait and hot takes day after day." He said, "I'm a lifelong Flyers fan. I was born in 67, with my first sports memory being the 74-75 Cup win. My brothers and I held up a homemade banner to passing traffic that read, 'Beep for the Flyers.'" He said, "I wanted to give you my take on the team this season. I think it's been a great season, especially for a rebuild. They have been in every game and, unlike recent seasons, have been fun to watch. I think the recent decline has more to do with losing so much of their D-core, causing an inability to move the puck up ice. You hit the nail on the head with the loss of Walker being critical here, added to the injuries to Drysdale and Sealer. It's changed their whole structure." I totally agree, Chris. I think you're so right about that. He said, "I don't think this team lacks fight or heart. I think they lack horses. I like the direction Torts has them going. The culture or standard is building and growing, and it's exciting. I think they just need a few more pieces to get there, and I believe in the ability of Danny and Jonesy to make that happen. I'm looking forward to them smuggling Michkov out of Russia this summer." And he says, parenthetically, it will happen. So while I really want them to make the playoffs, and I think they will, I will not be devastated if they don't. It's not the same as it has been in the recent past. This team finally has a future. Thanks again for all you do. Sincerely, Chris. Chris, thanks for your email. I think you're so right. We saw a team this season make this drastic systemic change in the way they play. We did not see a high-flying transition team last year. I think that's why some of the moves were made last summer, whether it was Kevin Hayes, Ivan Provorov, James Van Riemsdyk. I think Tony DeAngelo would be good in transition offense, but we know where that went. But this team came in this year and pushed the pace. Transition, no D-to-D regroups, no neutral zone regroups, push, boom, right back on them, put them on their heels. And that's what they've done all year. And they had the pieces to execute it with a guy like Sean Walker. Travis Sanheim, Cam York can play that type of game from the blue line. Rasmus Ristolainen, maybe not his strong suit, but when you have the injuries to Ristolainen, to Sealer, to Drysdale, and the loss of Walker, it is going to affect your ability to keep playing that style because the guys coming in, and whether that's last night Mark Stahl or Eric Johnson, who they traded for, or that's Yegor Zamula, or that's Adam Ginning or Ronnie Attard. They're not as good at that as the other guys I mentioned. And they clicked with that offense. And they are not the team in transition at this point in the season that they were earlier in the season. And here's the fallout. The fallout of being a team that can't get out and transition to that same effectiveness, the fallout is that, one, you're not scoring as many goals because you're not getting as many good transition chances off the rush. That's number one. Number two, you're also having a harder time obtaining the offensive zone, getting the puck in, getting set up. Three, you're now defending more because if you can't stretch the ice and get out in transition, the other team's getting in on their forecheck, and you're either trying to get out in transition, and there's risk that comes with that, and if you're not successful, they're right back on you. Or B, you're going with the flip, which is kind of a 50-50 play. The flip, I believe, is more of a play just to relieve stress when you have no other option. But we've seen a lot of the flip out of the D zone of late. And as a result of that, you're defending more. You're probably going to take more penalties because you don't have the puck as much, although they had the puck much more than Buffalo last night. But the fallout of being a team that doesn't get out in transition and on the rush anymore, and you couple that with the fact that the goaltending position overall isn't the strength it was in the first half of the season with Sam Emerson and Carter Hart, and you have what we have here, which is why when I broke down the season the other day on an episode, I broke it down into 4 pieces, those 19-game chunks. I also broke it in half, 76 games divided by 2, 38. And the first half of the season, in the first 38 games, the Flyers had 44 standings points and were +6 in goal differential. Since the injuries, since the trading of Walker, the loss of Carter Hart, in the subsequent 38 games, Flyers have 39 standings points and are -23 in goal differential. That's a huge difference. And that speaks to exactly what Chris said in his email. So, yeah, they need more pieces. No doubt about it. I don't think we've ever had a point in this season where we said, oh, this is a finished product. Not even close. Yeah, they have Michkov coming. Yeah, they have Bonk and maybe Barkey and maybe other guys. But they still need more. Way more. They need to be able to chuck guys onto the ice, more guys. I think Travis Konechny needs a guy who can go out there and create on his own. Owen Tippett at times as well. Morgan Frost, more of a playmaker, so maybe not driving offense in a singular fashion. But they need guys that can go out there and just go bananas on a shift and score a goal that not 10 things need to happen for it to go in. You need to go out there and just be able to chuck a guy over the boards that scares the crap out of the competition and can just generate offense all on his own. They need that. And you need more than just Michkov to bring that, included with what they already have. Need to find that. That's going to be something they need to look for. Dangerous players. Dangerous offensive players. A guy that might not be able to be a great defender or a 200-foot player, but he's net positive because he's not so bad at that end, but he's so good at the other end in providing that offense, especially when you need it. When you need a guy the team is kind of slogging along, has no momentum in a game, that guy goes over the boards and just makes something happen and puts the puck in the net, regrabs momentum, and gets it going again. That's what they need. And it's got to be more than just Michkov. All right, Flyers in Columbus tonight. We'll see if they can get these 2 points. This is crazy. We'll break it down tomorrow. Join us then on a brand new Flyers Daily.